up, YouTube adventure family? Today, we're gonna do a little maintenance on our bikes as we talked about it yesterday, but I got a lot of messages. I got flooded with messages and comments about not only how to change your brake pads, but what type of brake pads that I use, and also how to line up your calipers and keep that little squeaky sound from happening. So today, we're gonna jump in on the Power Goat V2 by Goat Power Bikes, and we're gonna change the brake pads on it. I'm gonna show you the brake pads that I suggest. I'm very particular about it, very OCD about it. I wanna dive in really deep on how to change your brake pads and probably do a little extra just because that's the way I am. As you can see here, I've got work I gotta do on this one here. It's basically cleaning. But on this one here, I'm actually upgrading the motor. I'm going from the 750 motor it came with and putting a 1,000-watt motor on the Bullet X. Stay tuned for that as well, because I'll be changing the controller and the display and all that. That should be a hoot. But we're gonna dive in now and change the brake pads on the Goat Power Bikes, Power Goat V2. I've got the table ready, got the coffee warm. Let's go. We're gonna actually take this caliper off, and then we're gonna take these brake pads out, and then we're gonna clean it. And then we're going to install the new hard-headed ram brake pads. And then we're going to install the caliper back on, and I'm going to show you a couple secrets to how to line up that caliper with your rotor to keep any of that nonsense and that extra squeaky from even happening. So let's dive in to changing the brake pads on the Goat's Power Bike, Power Goat V2, with some really high-quality ceramic, very quiet, very smooth brake pads. I really love taking care of my e-bike, and even more than anything, I really love smooth brakes. And there's nothing, I've said this in my videos many times, there's nothing more annoying than getting like a brand new e-bike there's nothing more annoying than getting a brand new e-bike, like I've said on my other videos, and the doggone brakes squeak. I mean, there's nothing more annoying than squeaky brakes on your brand new e-bike. And now we could go ahead and there is an easier way to do this, but I want to show you, grab you a little tool to take with you, because you never know, man. You might just need to line up your doggone rotors or whatever. Anyways, you get the idea, I'm sure. All right, now when you take these off, there's going to be the little washer underneath the caliper right here. See that? So be sure you get that off. And there is a bolt and a little spacer there as well. And I just kind of keep them in order as I take them off. So let's take this other one off here, and then we'll show you how to change out your brake pads. And we'll also show you the quick and easy ninja way to line up your calipers with your rotor so you don't get that annoying rub as the wheel turns, where it goes or squeak, 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 or whatever sound it makes. It's annoying as hell, man. So between motorcycles and bicycles and now e-bikes, I'm not a big squeaker. And see, there's that spacer that's underneath that caliper. Just need to watch out for. You don't want to lose these pieces, because that could really, really just suck. Anyways, we'll do a wipe down here. We're going to take these. You can see they get really contaminated, so not only do you need to clean these when they come from the factory, I mean, you need to, like, look at that. It's just wiping off the outside. You need to really take care of the dang things. And, you know, the point I'm trying to make is the cleaner you keep your vehicles, whether it's an e-bike or what, the cleaner you keep your vehicles, so the better they'll run, because there's just less possibility of getting contaminants in all the little piecey parts. You know what I mean? All right, so I'm gonna show you, if I can get closer here. See that little tiny little lock pin back here? I got to pull that out, and I got my needle nose pliers. That little lock pin there, let me make sure I get the camera. That little lock pin there just kind of keeps that bolt in there. So let's go ahead and pull that out. Got the needle nose pliers here. You just want to be sure that you get a good grip on that and just pull that up and out, and there it is. Now keep that, I just keep it in the doggone pliers, to be honest with you, till I put it back on. And that's just something you don't want to lose. I think that it would stay in, but this bolt might slowly, eventually, maybe loosen. I don't know. Now while you do this, be sure when you take out this bolt and you take out the old brake pads here, be sure you do not squeeze your brakes. And you can see those are the ones that come with, and they're pretty contaminated with, for whatever reason. It don't even matter, it's just that they are. Whether it's from the factory, whether it's just from the road. And it's a new bike, it's got less than 100 miles on it, so whatever. But the brake pads that come with are pretty decent, actually. Wasn't too disappointed in the brake pads that come with the Goat Power bikes. But this Power Goat V2 is just such a pleasure to ride, and such a high quality bike, and just unbelievable price at $2,400. It's just crazy for a 60 volt 2000 watt 50 amp controller, dual suspension, and just high quality parts. 203 millimeter rotors with 4 piston hydraulic brakes. It's just, there's not another, no one else is competing with this out there. I promise you. Why do you think I got it? I mean, I'm not made of money, you know. So, I mean, I bought the doggone thing. So now that I've done that, alright, I just take like a spray bottle here and spray a little bit of alcohol on it and wipe down the rotors. It's going to be the first thing I do. And I mean, you'll see just in that little wipe down, you know, and you can turn your wheel and, you know, get every little nook and cranny there. And you just work it around like I'm doing right now and double wipe it and all that. And you can see that's just the calipers, or that's just the rotor. It's kind of crazy, huh? And follow that link and buy them from that link. It helps support my channel when you go to Amazon and do that, because I do an affiliate program with them, because really it's really the only way I'm making money right now. Anyways, now when you put these new brake pads on, try not to touch the inside of the brake pads and contaminate them with possible oil you've gotten on your fingers or whatever. It's kind of like, I don't know if you've ever been skiing. I'm a big time skier, and snowboarders, you all know, if you've watched my channel, I do reviews on snowboards in the winter. I work with Never Summer a lot. Just don't contaminate, you know, your doggone brake pads. So just, you know, try not to touch them on the bottom, just like you do your ski goggles. like your Oakleys. Try not to touch the inside of the lenses. Tighten that in there. Hand tight, not super tight. You're not really torquing that down. All right, next you grab your little locker penny thing here. And I just grab it with my finger and just slide it in that little groove on the back of that bolt, and you're good to go. All right, so now that we've got our doggone brake pads in there, we need to put it on, obviously. So we need to remember how that went on. And if you remember, when we were talking earlier, we had this little fancy little washer thing that went on the bottom of the caliper, and then another little washer thing in the bolt. So we're just going to kind of piece that together a little bit and get the first one just barely threaded on. So we're going to put the actual calipers over the rotor and get that on, and then we're just going to hand tighten just a couple turns, because we still got to get this spacer underneath here and this spacer with this bolt still on here. So we still got to line those up. All right, so we're going to hand tighten that down, and then I'll show you a magic trick on how to get your calipers and your rotors lined up so you don't get that annoying rub, that annoying squeak that we all hate to get, especially when we're showing up to our friend's house or our girlfriend's house, and you got my e-bike, it's cost me $3,000 and I got another $2,000 in it, and yeah, how do you like my brake pads squeaking? Ain't that fancy? So what we'll do is we'll just barely do this, and then we'll show you a trick. Okay, now that we've got these things like hand tight, I'm going to show you something here. Okay, see how it's hand tight, but you can still get like a little bit of wiggle. Okay, we're going to make sure that this caliper is lined up with this rotor. We've cleaned it, we've wiped it down, we've changed the brake pads now. Now it's time to line this up with this. So we're going to line up our calipers with our rotors to stop any unnecessary rubbing, squeaking, or whatever. And the magic trick to that is, you ready for this? This is no joke. Is actually holding and squeezing your brake pad lever down while you tighten down your calipers, because they're lined up. You've squeezed them down, you've got the pistons engaged, squeezing your brake pads onto your rotor, perfectly evening it out because it's squeezed on there. You could also put a little drop of Loctite in there if you want to secure these, because this is a high intense e-bike in my opinion. So we're going to torque those down, just hand torque, it's all I do. Basically, we're going to make sure that that's tight in there now. And I think we're good to go. Dun, 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 dun. I love this little hand tool. I brag about it all the time. I tell everybody how much I use it too. Like, just because how it fits in my pocket. And when I'm going up to Vail to like the GoPro games or whatever, it's just nice to have. It's also nice to have coffee. So there is basically changing your brake pads. Looks good, doesn't it? That's changing your brake pads on your e-bike the super simple way, and it's the same thing. It's the same thing that I got to do on the front here in a minute. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed that. I should make like a little playlist, a little extra series thing about maintenance and fixing these things, because I get a ton of questions and a ton of requests on these things. So anyways, hope that helped, hope that simplified things, and I'll leave the links below to the brake pads that I use on my Power Goat V2. They're just awesome brake pads. I'm a huge, huge fan of ceramic brake pads. And they're going to add for the stopping power. They're going to add to the smoothness, the durability, and just the overall quality of the ride. Because after a soft, cushy ride and power, we all like good stopping. So anyways, to our next adventure, whether it be working on these things, I got motors to change, I got things to do here. Until our next e-bike adventure, this is Chris from the Colorado Adventure Channel. Peace.